Hello, my name is Molly Downey, and my project is called Advertising with Street Art. This is really a way for governments to generate revenue by using public space already in their cities or towns to allow businesses to promote themselves through street art advertising. An overview of what I'll be talking about is the street art trend that's happening across the world, some typical ways businesses are already advertising to the public, and then how a project like this will need investment from the government as well as can generate revenue for the government, and then a sample or an example of what this project may look like in a city. So, street art worldwide is a growing trend. It's really moving away from the idea that spray paint and murals in a city are forms of graffiti, and now they're really considered forms of art. Cities are actually seeing tourist influx into their areas because of the growth of Instagram and the desire for tourists in the area to take pictures with the street art and post and share on social media, which is a really encouraging growth and visibility for those areas and those murals. Murals also can help create a sense of community and culture in the town or city where they're created. Some cities that are already capitalizing on this idea is Miami, Florida. They have the Wynwood Walls project, and this is a project in the Arts District neighborhood in Miami, Florida, where artists are allowed to go in and spray paint different buildings and really encourage visitors to come and take photos with those murals. In Los Angeles, California, that was the beginning of the Wings project. This is now turned into a global project where artists create wings in different mediums for, again, tourists to take pictures with. And then in Nashville, Tennessee, there's city murals across the entire city that really represent the culture and the community within Tennessee and in Nashville. So specifically at the Wynwood Walls, according to their annual report, they've had some really successful statistics from this project. So over 1 million out-of-town visitors come to the Wynwood Walls every year to visit. And then because of those local visitors, they are spending more than $300 million in the area. So that money is going back into local businesses and really allowing the support of 400 plus businesses in the area and 5,000 jobs. So you can really see how a project like this can grow and affect other aspects of the city. So some traditional advertising that businesses tend to use that is visible and interacts with the public are, again, billboards is a huge one. But with billboards, personalization is limited, and they also have a limited lifespan of about 4 to 6 weeks typically. In newspaper and TV ads, businesses are able to target demographics really well, but it can also be very expensive. Social media is an up and coming trend in businesses and advertising, and doesn't really cost too much, but it does use a significant amount of time to dedicate to it. And then finally, businesses oftentimes sponsor events or promotions happening within a city to get that face-to-face interaction with consumers and brand promotion. So one of the private mural companies that's really working and really developing is called Colossal Media, and they work in large cities like New York City and create advertisements for businesses through murals. And their managing director had this to say about their work. When a consumer sees our walls, they think art first, ad second, and are drawn into the brand message. So this is a really beneficial idea for businesses because it's not just throwing advertisements in consumers' faces like a lot of other traditional advertising is. It's really promoting art and promoting that message more so than just the advertising. So for my project specifically, what it would really look like, it would probably start in an economic development office in a city or a town. They would be able to take on this project, and it would likely need approval from a city council or a city board. I think personally this kind of project would greatly benefit a growing medium-sized city where there's still public space and there's still areas of growth that are needed within the city. But at the same time, there's a large enough population that it would be an appealing venture for a business looking to advertise in the area. Some steps that would need to be taken to really start this project and get it off the ground. Firstly, obviously, would be for the government to identify space, finding blank walls, perhaps empty buildings that they can use and offer up to businesses. It would also be useful for them to create a database of artists so they could find local artists in the area and identify what skill sets they have. And then finally, really renting to those businesses and offering them space so they can advertise. Um, Obviously, the government would need to offer some investment costs for this project to get going. Nationwide, over 77,000 unused government buildings are sitting around in cities and areas and costing taxpayers more than $1.7 billion per year. So if there's ways to generate revenue from those empty buildings, it's really useful. Um, in addition to that, the municipal employees working on the project would obviously need to regulate that rental space as well as dedicate time and effort to onboard businesses and get in touch with them so they know that they can advertise. However, there's a lot of revenue potential with a project like this because based on the amount of space, that means more potential revenue. So comparable to billboard prices nationwide, as well as what private mural businesses are already charging, I would suggest that a large city rents out a space for $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month in a medium-sized city, and $1,000 a month in a small city. This rental space that I'm talking about would be a 15-foot by 30-foot blank wall space. This is a size that's comparable to a traditional billboard. And then the government could also charge an added $100 for every additional square foot that the business would want to advertise with. Another stipulation of this project would be that businesses would employ local artists to actually create the murals. And again, this is putting money back into the community and supporting the local area. And then finally, time span wise, because it is a lot of work and time to put up the mural, businesses would need to rent the space for at least 6 months and up to 2 years. And during that time period of their rental, they would be responsible for maintaining any costs associated with the mural. So an example city that I was thinking of and after some research decided on was Sacramento, California, because it is a growing city of about 470,000 citizens in that city, as well as it's a city that has a lot of art and a lot of culture that could benefit something like this. And it would have enough people that a business would want to advertise in that area. So for a mural space in Sacramento, it would be the 15 by 30 foot square space. It would be ideal to have it in a downtown building close to a bus stop and a coffee shop. So there's a lot of visibility and a lot of foot traffic. The artists that would be involved, again, the businesses would be hiring and commissioning these artists. They would be paid $50 an hour, which is comparable to a typical going rate for artists. And then also materials, so total $5,000 each for the artist to work on the mural. And then finally, for the government, they would generate approximately $35,000 for a full year, with the business being responsible for maintenance costs. So in this way, the government for one mural is generating a good amount of money with low overhead because they're not doing any of the maintenance costs. In general, there's a lot of benefits for municipalities who would do this. So again, building that community, these murals can really represent aspects of culture in the area and allow for economic development into other areas like small businesses. Also, the support of artists. This would allow, again, them to grow their personal brand and encourage their own success in that local area. And then finally, to increase tourism. As you could see from the Wynwood Wall statistics, these types of murals are really drawing in visitors, and trying to promote that through social media and generate interest will bring in more people into the area. So in conclusion, I think this is a very interesting new project for the growing social media and the growing visual age that we live in. So I think it would be interesting for any mid-sized city to really take on as a project to generate revenue. Thank you.